Greetings and welcome to Beauty Out of Mire channel, where we discuss important matters to do with neurodevelopmental disorders. I am your host, Dr. Phidel Baraza, and today we are looking at a very important topic, and that is the significance of therapies in neurodevelopmental disorders. Children go through milestones once they have been born. And we have the natural set order of milestones that children are supposed to go through. And that will include, like crawling, and then being able to stand, being able to walk, and the like. But that does not happen to every child in a systematic way and set times as given. Some children go through injuries on the developing brain, and that could be through the left hemisphere or the right hemisphere. And in one way or another, this child's brain gets injured, and at times even the central nervous system as well gets injured. And so the child begins to lag behind. They don't achieve their milestones when they're supposed to. And many a times, because of lack of knowledge, as parents, and young parents for that matter, you can easily assume and just keep waiting and letting it pass and telling yourself, probably the child will be okay with time. And at times people can advise you and say, just give it time, the child will achieve the milestones on their own. Or at times, because of the misperceptions, people begin to ask, just the same rhetorical question like the disciples asked Jesus in the Bible, who sinned, the parent or the child? That this child is ending up being like this. But truth be told, nobody has sinned. The child hasn't sinned, and so it's not a punishment for the child. Neither has the parent, or probably even if they did, anyway, I don't think that would be the cause that God is, subjecting the child to suffer because the parents sinned. After all, we have seen many children who have been born out of wedlock and they don't have, disability and the like. The best thing for you to do as a parent, the moment you realize that your child is experiencing a condition that is out of the norm, is for you to look out for medical advice. Look for the doctors and let the doctors clinically assess the child and be able to advise you on what exactly is happening with the child. And yes, it may be brain injury, but the doctors will be able to know what part of the brain has been injured and what particular condition is the child suffering from. Because neurodevelopmental disorders are many. And so a child may be suffering because it's cerebral palsy, or it's autism, or it's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or it's dyslexia. It is any of the many that are there. The clinicians will be able to advise you. And if there is need for medication, they will know what kind of medication to give. The most commonly associated injury, symptom that also accompanies injuries on the brain are at times convulsions. A number of children who have brain injury also have convulsions. And I've had stories of where a child will convulse 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. And probably as a parent, you have gone to the hospital and you have been told, we don't have a neurologist, so come next week. And you carry the child back home, and you go and you sit with this child, and the child continues to convulse 2, 3, 4 times in a day, and you're sitting with them and you don't know. It is not proper for a child to convulse like that consistently without medication. If in one hospital you have not been able to get a neurologist, please get to any other hospital where you can get a neurologist, but that child needs, to get the medical attention very, very urgently. And with that, when the child is also experiencing brain injury, delayed developmental milestones, therapies come in. You might be asking yourself, so what's the need for therapies? Therapies are very important. Therapies are a necessity for children with neurodevelopmental disorders. It is not something that you are just doing for the sake of doing it. No, it is a necessity. And there are different types of therapies. We have occupational therapy. Occupational therapy, and every kind of therapy has specialists that actually do that. So we have people who deal with occupational therapy, physiotherapy, hydrotherapy, equine therapy, speech therapy, and many therapies that you'll think about. And so you need to know what kind of therapy it is that the child needs and be able to give them the therapy that they need. Occupational therapy is trying to condition the brain so that the brain knows again how to work. Probably the child doesn't know how to walk, and many a times they will take time. I'll give an example of my own daughter who I have shared over and over that she is a child with disability, has autism spectrum disorder, cerebral palsy, delayed developmental milestones, sensory disorder, and the like. And we have gone through a journey. My daughter was not able to walk until several years down the line. I think she began probably to be able to walk, just make some steps at around age 5. And, just even that, it wasn't like she's walking the way the children walk, but it was a lot of work to get her to that particular time. We began with doing the therapies, occupational therapy, right from, I think, 9 months, she was already doing therapies, and we continue with therapies. Her own neck was able to hold after 1.5 years, and that was after doing a lot of occupational therapy to have the neck hold. And after that, we began to do same occupational therapy to have her limbs to be able to even gain strength, her joints gain strength. For her to be able to sit, it was another process. Around 2.5 years is when she was beginning to learn how to sit. And to walk, she began to walk around 5-6 years is when she was able to walk. So it's been a journey of getting her to walk, getting her to do one thing or another, getting her to be able to make a step after, at a time. It's been a journey of a step at a time. And even with that, the therapies have not stopped. We still continue with the therapies, because you'll find that even when she learned how to sit, it was not perfect. She will, when she was 10 years old, she will still slam into a chair and not be able to sit upright. And so because her trunk wasn't firm enough to be able to hold her when she's sitting. And so we continue with the therapies to make the muscles firm for her to be able to sit. Now, for a different child, it will be different case altogether. For her, her muscles were very floppy. But for other children, the muscles will be very stiff. But even with that, they still need therapy and to go through it. But you need to know what kind of therapy. And again, the specialists will guide you to get to know what kind of therapy works for what kind of a condition for a child. And you give the child that particular therapy that they need. Now, I'm saying therapies are important, because without therapy, you will find a child that will never be able to do anything for themselves. My daughter, had I neglected the place of therapies, her muscles, all her muscles were very weak, myopic, and not able to hold. Even her joints could not hold her. The same way, you put a child on your laps and the child is able to, you can be able to like make the child stand on your laps and have that strong, firm, you know, stand and all that. My child didn't have that because no part of her joint of her body was holding. Every part fell, you know, the limbs, every joint. The neck, for a very long time, for almost 2 years, I walked around holding her head in my hands because the head is the heaviest organ on the human body and it will fall back. And the therapies have helped her. Today she's able to walk. She's not able to run, and you can be able to see her pictures and, you know, running and doing this and that around. But that is just the far she's able to go is running, because she is yet to get there. But we continue with the therapies. Therapies do a lot. So we don't have to take our children and put them lie on the, you know, streets and, you know, just make them lie like that. It is a lot of work, emotionally draining as well, and even strenuous for the child themselves. But I want to encourage you, don't hide your child. Don't tie them on the bed. Don't make them feel like they don't belong into this world. Disability is not inability, and disability is not something for you to feel ashamed of, because nobody ever asked to be a disabled person. Disability is diversity. And what you do and what we need to do is to support every individual who is disabled and try to do what is within our power to rectify the situation. But what is not within our power, we also entrust to God, who is the creator, who has created them. He loves them much more than any of us ever does. And God knows how to perfect the situation and the condition. But seek professional help. We can never achieve it and do it alone. Hiding the child does not help. Therapies work. And now probably you are there and you're asking yourself, how do I gain the therapies? The first step I've said for you to know whether you need therapies is seek medical advice. Let the clinicians, the medical team assess the child and understand what the condition is, and they will be able to advise you exactly what the child is suffering from. And then from there, they are able to also tell you the kind of therapies that are needed. But suppose you have even been able to do all that and you're wondering, where do I get these services? At Beauty Out of Mire, we are here to guide you, to support you, to encourage you, to be a support system through this journey. And we want to encourage you, reach out to us. And probably you are also there and you're saying, I don't have a child with disability, but I can support a family of a child with disability who are there and they cannot afford the therapy because the therapies are there and they're expensive. And you don't know how to support, please reach out to us at Beauty Out of Mire through our pay bill on the screen, and we will be able, through that donation, to support a child access medical therapies. Please remember to subscribe to all our social media handles and follow us and like us. Together, let's make the world a better place for each and everyone to belong. The society thrives when every member of the society is contributing positively, and you and I can make the world an accessible place, a better place, a joyous place for everyone to belong, through your donation, through your support, through your cheering the team on. We love you, we appreciate you. Keep it Beauty Out of Mire. God bless you.